from YAS, the Stripper podcast. This is my first episode that I'm recording by myself in about a year. We just released the Hoperas Reunite episode last month, which was all four hosts, which was super fun to be reunited. So if you haven't listened to that episode, you definitely should go listen to that because it's got updates for each host and what each of us were doing during the break. And those babes stayed really busy. Gigi, Daisy, and Onyx, they're up to so many great things, winning awards, being in movies, etc. So highly recommend to give that a lesson. Today's guest, I'm very, very excited to introduce you to. And for those of you who follow us on social media, we made a post recently asking you a question about what pole dance studios can do to make strippers and sex workers feel safer in that space. I gotta be honest with y'all, I was not expecting the response that we got. We got like over 270 likes, like dozens of comments. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but our account's not super huge yet. So it was really awesome. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who participated in that thread. And as mentioned in that thread, we will be reading those comments on air today with Emily Cipriano, who is our guest. Shit, the cat is out of the bag. And she is doing incredible things at her studio. And we are going to get to all of that. I wanted to tell you all too that things are going to be a little different this time around. You know, in the past we've been doing longer episodes. On my episodes in particular, I'd like them to be a little shorter, and I'd really like to maintain this audience engagement. It was so fun hearing from all of you. So anyways, I just wanted to put that out there and let you know that, yeah, the format will be a little different than what you remembered. With that being said, I'm totally done rambling. Let's hear Emily's voice. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hi, I am. How are you? So excited to be here.
Oh my God, I'm so excited too. I even put colored tinted lip gloss on for you today. I don't.
Same, same.
I like
So
don't
fancy.
wear lipstick anymore. I feel like I'm in
Uh-huh.
drag when I wear lipstick now. Do you feel that
Yeah,
way anymore?
absolutely. Yeah, I don't do lipstick. I don't want to wear a bra. I mean, let's be honest, you
Mm.
know.
Oh God, bras are the absolute worst.
Mhm. Yeah.
Speaking of
Yep.
bras, I tried on that outfit that you
Oh, yeah.
gave me the other day. Homie, that thing is like 3 times too small. My tits are so fat. They were like spilling out.
I still want a
I,
picture. All right, you need to send me a nudie. Like, I want a picture.
okay,
I
fine.
need to see it firsthand.
I tried
So good.
so many ways to fit them in there, and I was just like, no, no. It's such a high quality piece, too. So I'm going to
I
give it
know it
back
has
to
such
you.
potential, but
It really does. So for
here we
those
are.
of you who are listening, it's like a black onesie. It was like satin, but the material was like thick. It was
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah, there was an
Yeah,
underwire. Like, I mean, it has everything that you potentially need for success. And then
absolutely.
just, not all the way.
The
Yeah.
tits were not having it. And they make
Yeah.
all the rules, whatever they
Oh,
say
absolutely.
goes.
Same. Same, same,
So
same.
Emily, I don't feel like enough people know about you as like, and I feel like more people should know about you because you have an extensive stripping career that we're going to talk about today and all of your accomplishments.
Mhm.
And you've had a pole dance studio for 15 years. That's a long
15
time.
years. I know. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? Yeah.
So, yeah, well, yeah. So, we're going to need you to like kind of give us a rundown of your career so people can get to know you because on Instagram, you're not even on Instagram.
I'm not. No. I am a
Right.
TikToker. So
Right,
here
right.
we
But on
are.
TikTok, you have like tens
Mhm.
of thousands of followers on TikTok. Like 17,
Yeah. Yeah,
seventeen
it's really
thousand.
I think it's really not about me. I think it's the dragons. But I will take credit for it, you know.
Okay. Well, For anyone who's confused about what the dragons means, we will definitely get into that and maybe get one on camera at some
Yeah,
point.
yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay, so give us a rundown. Like, who are you? What have you done?
So, I was a stripper for almost 18 years. So fun. I worked all over, primarily in Philadelphia, but I worked a few other cities. We used to travel, do all kinds of fun stuff. I won Entertainer of the Year, Miss Exotic Pennsylvania, Diamond G String. I'm sure there's more. Yeah, so it was a long time. It was so fun. And
Yeah,
then I opened
yeah,
opened the studio.
yes. Can you tell people like where, what, the branding, stuff
Yeah.
like that?
So it's called the Pennsylvania Pole Academy. And we're here in Pennsylvania. We're in Bucks County. Online, it's at papoledancing.com. We're on all social media, even Instagram. And yeah, it's awesome. It's been a really wild 15 years. The everything has
Yeah,
changed. The industry has changed. I mean, just
I know.
everything. So it's
Yeah,
been interesting to see it kind of play out and to see um, where it's going, where it's been. But
yeah.
here we are.
So, what made you decide to open a pole dance studio as a stripper?
Um, I had had a child. I just had my daughter, and I was kind of taken away from the only thing that I knew. I mean, at that point, I had been
Mm,
working in clubs for around 10, 12 years maybe. So it was my life, and I had a baby,
right.
and I was kind of taken away. So I was lonely.
Mm,
I was looking for like a replacement. I wanted the same I wanted the same thing from the pre-mom. you know.
yeah.
So I wrote some notes down on a bar napkin, and shocking, I know. And then here we are.
It's
And
your
I swear
version
to
of
God, that
Google
actually
Docs.
happened. Yeah, which I am going to send you, by the way. It's on the list. It's on the
Oh,
list.
yes, yes, yes. Um, yeah, so I remember recently you telling me a story about what it was like when you first opened your club. Do you mind sharing that? Is that
Yeah,
something
it was.
you care to
Um,
share?
I will. It was not a pleasant experience.
Right.
When I especially because it's called the Pennsylvania Pole Academy, there is no question, about what we do and what's happening inside those doors. So
Right.
people were not excited in the community to have us there. Immediately, it was looked as something awful that I had brought to this town, and that was without even meeting me, without hearing anything that I wanted to do. So
Hmm.
it was not the best, but we didn't stop. It was like
Right.
it wasn't going to deter me, so we kept going.
So one of the things that I remember you mentioning to me is that there were like picketers outside,
There was
and that
picketers,
must have
yeah, outside.
been that must. How did that feel? Like, how many people were there?
So in the beginning, there was three to four, because I had put up a temporary sign in my door. So three to four would stand outside and wait, and I would hold my daughter's hand walking in. Um, and it was so tough because I was so excited to bring something back that I was missing and that I needed. I love everything that's happening right now.
Just a cat butthole in my face, in your
Yeah,
face,
I love it.
in
I love
everyone's face. It's fine.
it. Like typically that costs extra, but it's fine. Here we are. Um, so yeah, it was it was an awful feeling, to be a super young business owner, a new mom, and trying to do something that I'm passionate about, and it was just met with nothing but just hatred and deaf ears. Yeah.
So I think it's important for the audience to know like where we live, and also for the audience to know that we live like 15 minutes away from each other and we've
Yeah,
become friends very
I know.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's so
Yeah,
exciting.
and it is so exciting for me. Moving here from Los Angeles is like just a huge culture
Yeah.
shift.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't think we should kind of probably tell the audience like what it's like where we are and maybe give them a better idea of why picketers, like why it was more
Mhm.
probable and happened that picketers showed up at your business when you opened. Do
Yeah.
you
I
want
mean,
to?
it's definitely
Okay.
rural here,
Yeah.
I think is a good term to put it. I mean, we have these little towns, but it's nothing compared to a city or even a suburb of a city. I mean, they're pretty small and
Totally.
pretty spread out. Like it's not a place that you couldn't have a vehicle. I feel like we've both lived in places where you never needed a car but here you do. Um, and I think
Yeah.
that there's still some of that kind of old mindset um, out here. Just the very
Yeah.
people have blinders on and they think one way, and there is no room for learning new things or understanding a different way. It's just this is the way that works, and that's what they do. I do think it's different now than it
Mhm.
was.
Okay.
I think there has been some progress made, but it is a giant shock coming from a sizable city.
Yeah, and you would have spent a lot of time in Philadelphia because that's where you
Yeah,
worked.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely more conservative. It's very quiet. It's very family traditional values type of area. It's
Hmm.
very American pride. Um, Not super diverse. And
No.
yeah, I can
Mm-mm.
see 15 years ago, right? I could see based on what was happening in the world and in the pole dance industry slash community in general. I mean, that's when the pole dance industry was just taking off. I actually just analyzed the timeline yesterday. It's
Hmm.
been popping for 15 years, which means you were at you were at the very beginning of all of this, and I'm it's just dawning
Yeah.
on me now that you,
Hmm.
someone like you, is being left out of history of pole dancing. That is a
Hmm.
huge milestone in our history that you were open 15 years
It's
ago.
yeah. I mean, and it's crazy because I was the only one outside of the city of Philadelphia and New York. There wasn't any others around when you got out of those limits. So I mean, it was quite a
Right.
feat to even open, with this idea and the concept and bringing this part of life to a town that had never seen it. I mean, they have no
Right.
experience.
Right. Yeah. Gosh, that was a huge responsibility that you took on. Were you even aware that that was like, was that even something in your peripheral thought process while you were going through like opening the business that you're like, oh, people might be mad at me?
No, but I think because even though I lived in this town, I worked, I had a social life outside of this zip code. So I wasn't even used to that mindset. I wasn't used to people being offended by what is normal for me, you know? I mean, it's like it's the truth. Like,
That's an amazing quote.
yeah.
That is so like that really hits home for me because it's like it's so everything is so normal to us, but then we're looked at sideways,
Mhm.
and I'm like, and it's like, what am I doing? Like I'm just doing what I'm
Right.
supposed
Like
to be
this is
doing. What are you
this is
talking about?
me. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm
it's
so
the same.
confused.
I sometimes I feel like people put understanding and acceptance in the same boat, and they really don't
Right.
belong together all the time. You can
Mm-hmm.
understand and still not support, or even accept, but you can understand. And vice versa, right? You can accept or support something, but not understand it at all. And I
Right.
think out
Right.
here, it's the line is just very drawn, or it was. It has
Okay.
changed, like I said, since, but it was just kind of drawn. You either fit in this mold or you don't, and there was no
Right.
there was no going in between.
Dang. So, one of the things that is really special about your studio is obviously it's a stripper owned studio. That's very
Hmm.
special. I don't think there are as many of them as we would like.
Hmm.
And um and one of the things that well, many of the things that you do is you make this space very safe for strippers and sex workers. Hence why we asked that question
Hmm.
online because I already know what you're doing. And I would love for
Hmm.
you to share what you feel comfortable sharing about the ways that you make the pole
Hmm.
studio safe for strippers and sex workers from the beginning up until now.
Um, okay. I just, what's so funny
Yeah.
is when we first started talking about this, um,
Yeah.
when we started talking about some of the comments, right? I was like, but I just thought that this was normal. I didn't
No.
think that it was like I've never looked at it like I'm going above and beyond. To me, it's been this is a normal way of respecting the industry and humans, like it's just so crazy. Um, but so I everyone has they have a right when it comes to privacy at the studio. If they want information disclosed, such as their profession or anything, they can do it. If they don't, it's not. Um, we are really big on safety, and that's a physical safety, mental safety, emotional safety. It's the whole. There's so many different avenues of safety, and we really
Sure.
want to make sure that we are fulfilling all of those. Um, we have, I mean, when it comes to security stuff, we go above and beyond. We support the club that is closest to the studio. We work with them on countless events. You know, I just dressed as a ranch bottle last week. Um, so, yeah,
We're going to have to get into it now that you
I
said
offer,
it.
yeah, yeah. It's a shining moment in my career. So, um, I have always offered private rental time. So, and the way our rental time works is it's a per hour rental, and that can be done even if you work second or third shift. I mean, I recognize that not everyone is a 9 to 5er. So if it works with your schedule and to do a rental from 10 p.m. until midnight, we can do that. And our rentals are 100% um, just you. If you are renting the studio, you don't have staff running around, so you really have an opportunity if you want to train or practice or whatever it is. You have that freedom to do so with it without an audience, basically.
That's
So
really
that's super
nice.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And
I
so
mean, I also
basically
hire
you,
strippers.
yeah, as instructors, right?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, as instructors.
Yeah.
And that's amazing because one of the and we'll get
Hmm.
into the comments. The comments are like, stop having non-sex workers teach like stripper style and sexy classes,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I agree with
Yeah.
that 100% because the whole central part of pole
Hmm.
dancing that comes from strippers and sex workers. They're the experts. They're like it makes no
Hmm.
sense for a non-expert to be teaching that when there's all these other experts like available. So
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
beautiful that you
And I
do
like that
that.
everyone brings something kind of different, to the table. Like I don't want a staff that's cookie cutter and, just kind of thinking
Right.
on one wavelength, whether that's, a competition based or stripper. Like I want a whole gamut of people with different talents on the
Yeah.
team, and that's what I have, and it's really great.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's amazing.
and
So we got we
and my instructors who are strippers are amazing.
Yeah, oh, I know. I know. I've seen them. They are. So you're not getting out of this though. We are circling back to the ranch bottle comment because you said it. So
The ranch bottle.
you
I know. I know. But also, if this comes up, we have to mention that you were wearing chicken feet. Okay?
chicken feet.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Chicken feet.
the
Yeah.
local
Which, by
club
the way, I gave away to someone.
to one of the dancers at the club.
Yeah.
Right? You gave it to one
Yeah.
of the dancers. Yeah, one of my
Yeah.
favorites. So
Yeah.
Double Visions is our local strip club. We absolutely love Double Visions. In my stories, actually, my
Yeah.
friend Boo Boo Brian was like, "Oh, I love Double Visions," and I'm like, "Wait, you know what Double Visions is? He lives not anywhere close to here." And we used to live in LA
Yeah,
together.
and
So
he's
I'm
been
like,
there.
how the fuck do you know about Double Visions? So apparently one of his
I love it.
very close friends lives here. And so anyways, Double Visions, very, very fun strip club. It's as far as like labor rights, it's one of the best. It's, not perfect, but one of the best I've encountered.
Mhm.
And they had a chicken wing eating contest, which is a Philadelphia annual holiday.
Yes.
Do you want
It's
to explain more?
well, yeah, it's been a tradition in Philly for years. And the idea behind the Wing Bowl, it is the biggest party day of the year in the strip club industry here in Philly. But it was actually created, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, to as kind of like a pep rally for the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl, which there was a giant stretch of time that that didn't happen. So that event just kept growing every year, and it was, you know, and then they said once they go to the Super Bowl, they're not going to do it anymore. The Eagles went to the Super Bowl, so now the official Wing Bowl is actually not a thing. Now it's called something different. It's celebrated a little bit different, but that's I'm almost positive. Please don't come for me, Philly, if I got it
Okay.
wrong, but it's something like that.
Got it. And so the local strip club did a wings eating contest, and we went. And um, one of Emily's friends went dressed as a chicken bone, like a chicken thigh leg, like a leg, right?
She
Like a
was,
one with a bone
yeah,
at the end.
yeah. She was like a wing. Yep,
And
yep.
you were
That's what
a
she was.
ranch bottle,
Yeah,
right? And you were a giant
I
hidden
pulled the
valley,
short
I
straw,
think.
and it was hidden. There was the entire ingredient list on my back. I mean, again, it was a shining moment in my career. I'm going to add it to my resume.
I
And I have
probably
had
can I
actually
sh-
other places reach out.
what? What do you mean? Like they
Can you
want
share the
you to make
picture?
an appearance as the ranch bottle?
Yes. Yes, they want Tasha and I to come in our outfits, and I'm like, I'm not a mascot for hire. Like, I was doing this to make everyone laugh
That's
and embarrass myself for one event. And now I have restaurants that want me to come as a mascot for hire.
That is amazing. Are you not going to do it? I'll do it for you. If
Mhm.
you don't want to do it, I don't care. That is amazing.
I mean, yes, then we may have another business venture here going.
Can I share a
I love
photo
it.
of you as a ranch bottle on social media?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. hmm
Okay, I'm doing it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I trained really hard, you know.
And so just to like kind of full circle this, you like go to the amateur contest, you go to the strip club, you check on the dancers, like you're very still involved with the local stripper community, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. We donate to a bunch of their competitions and their events. They have one this weekend that we donated half the prize money to. I love to check on everybody there, see if there's anything I can do to help. I drop off goodies all the time. You know, if anybody needs a safe ride, they know they can call me and I will be there. Any type of help that has always been hard to get, I would like to
Yeah.
I would like to offer.
Yeah. That's so awesome. We definitely need more people like you that are running studios that are local business owners to like be accepting and like helpful to strippers and like you said like
hmm
it's just so natural because that's where you came from but like I don't want to say unfortunately but it is what it is. A lot of pole dance studios are not owned by strippers and so
I know,
it
and
doesn't
a
it's
lot of
yeah,
a
right.
lot of strippers don't even feel comfortable going to studios just as a paying customer in a class
Yeah.
or if they offer some type of rental, they don't feel comfortable in an environment in which should feel very comfortable, you know?
Yeah. Yes, I do know. I was raised in Los Angeles When I say raised, I mean from an 18-year-old to an actual adult. And the pole dance studios there were the first two. One was opened by an ex-stripper, and the other was opened by someone who was best friends with a stripper. And so that was she was their main instructor. And so all in Los Angeles, it was extremely inclusive for strippers to show up. Has been my experience. If that is not someone else's experience, I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone. And so I didn't, and then I see around the country a lot of other comments to the contrary. And it just blows, because I remember when pole dancing first started coming up in the studios, I started teaching in the studios in 2007. And other strippers were talking mad shit in the dressing room about pole dance studios opening. Because I think they predicted what actually happened, was that we were kind of like, oh, well, we don't want to be gross like you, so we're going to do this thing over here.
But we want to do exactly what you're doing.
What you're doing, but like not the gross stuff that you do on the side.
But not gross.
Right.
Right. Like, what?
Yeah. So my experience was very different. Things felt more inclusive, but when things started happening in different parts of the country, that's when I got really mixed messaging. Like we were all getting kicked to the curb, basically. And that's been happening since the beginning of this shit. Yeah. It's painful.
Yeah. It's never ending, and it's always just in a different, and it's just always in a different way, almost. You want to read stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to read stuff, but really quickly, I want to make sure that you notice that I'm wearing my PA Pole Academy hoodie. Looking all cute and shit. Twins.
You do have good gear, though, right?
Oh, no, you have. Good. I love it. Yes. And also, speaking of Pole Academy gear, let's just talk real quick. So, y'all, I'm in this studio, right, for the first time in a long time. And I'm like, I go into the bathroom. I'm like, there's like a dozen different types of maxi pads and tampons. There is hairspray. There's body spray. There was a full Starbucks spread.
Snacks. We have snacks, ice machines.
So many snacks.
Everyone has asked for a chocolate fountain. I'm like, can we keep this within reason, please?
The amenities are incredible. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I know.
And the hair ties.
I have so many people ask. Oh, hair ties. Yeah.
All the hair ties.
Like, how much for a tampon? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, well, if this is out at other studios, I have to pay for it. I was like, no,
what?
No. Complimentary. Oh yeah, there are studios around. I know of some in PA that you have to pay for stuff like water, tampons, yoga mat rentals.
What? You're kidding.
Water. You have to pay for water. I'm like, it is a gym studio, dance studio type environment. Water is a basic human necessity, right? I mean, in my opinion, tampons should be a basic human necessity that people shouldn't have. I mean, you're not asking to be pure, you get it. So here's, at least something. Hair ties.
Yeah.
God forbid your hair tie breaks.
Sucks. That sucks when you don't have a hair tie.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's read some of these comments.
Are you reading?
Yeah. Do you want to go first? Why don't you go first?
You go first.
You want me to go first?
Totally go
okay.
First. Yeah.
So the first comment that we're going to read today, and we're not reading everyone's comments, although thank you to everyone because, there were actually so many. Our first comment is from Gutter Puke, and his comment reads, not letting the non-sex worker teachers cosplay as sex workers, only having sex worker instructors for classes that are sex worker coded, letting instructors set their own prices for private lessons, giving instructors bonuses for double booking their classes. I could go on and on. Um, yeah, the dressing up as strippers and sex workers things comes up a lot, and not just the dressing up as, but also what I see that I don't like and hear about a lot is the throwing of money
Hmm.
in the pole dance studios when it's like not a stripper thing, right? Like
Hmm.
and this is interesting. This brings up an interesting thing. So, like, you're a stripper, I'm a stripper. What if we're there, right? Are we then?
Hmm.
What do you think
Right.
about this? Like, what's been your experience with like the dressing up or acting as strippers or throwing money like you're a stripper? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think that there's definitely two sides to it. I completely understand the one of like, it shouldn't be done, and I get the frustration. The other side, and what I have seen, at least within my studio walls, is by doing things like dressing up as strippers, or the money throwing. It has helped kind of create an understanding and a level
Hmm.
of, I, I guess I don't want to say a level of acceptance, but definitely of just kind of understanding. And then to see someone who would normally not want to wear stripper clothing, feel comfy and confident and sexy, and then it kind of just gives them an awareness to the industry, and what it's more, there's just so much more to it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think also along with this comment, he's saying, I know gutter puke, so yeah, I think what he's saying is, having sex worker instructors for classes that are sex worker coded, for instance, like stripper style. That's like a typical
Mm-hmm.
commonly titled class, and like should there
Hmm.
be non strippers teaching a stripper style class? I say no. I believe no, that a
Hmm.
non stripper should teach
Hmm.
something that's coded as stripper. What do you think?
Hmm. Yeah, I think if it's coded for a stripper class. Um, but what if the instructor who is not is not a stripper? What if they have a style or a routine that they put together that's just really like off the charts awesome? Should they not have the opportunity to teach that because I like to say, like, earn your stripes kind of thing.
Right.
It's like I guess kind of that gray area. Um,
Yeah.
but I think, if it is a stripper coded class, then it should be true to the name and to the form of what you're doing, but
Right. So I used to teach a sensuality class, and I feel
mhm,
like you don't need to have been a sex worker to be
mhm,
in touch with and express yourself sensually or to know how to
right,
do that.
right.
But I
Yeah,
think
like
if
I
it
would
were
never offer like a stage presence class and have someone who has never been on a stage teach it, right? That's very
exactly,
nichey. So, yeah, so like something that's you wouldn't be unable to teach the class without having firsthand knowledge, that
right.
should be true to the class and to the instructor and the experience.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, speaking of that, we could read the next comment, which kind of ties into that one. You're up.
Am I going?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
This
your
is,
turn.
is it me? Is it me? Okay.
Yeah.
Kitty, I'm also like blind, so I love that you're like, just read it off the phone. And I'm like, let me get my trifocals in order here. All right, ready? It's actually happening. I'm like, wait, I don't, okay. So this is is there a camera crew? This is some joke. Okay. Oh, losing ear pods. All right, Kitty Velour. Hire strippers and sex workers to teach classes and workshops. Talk about the history of pole dancing classes, especially heels classes. Offer sex worker discounts. Teach students how to confront horophobia and avoid horophobic language.
I love that.
Mhm.
I love that. What do you think? Do you have any thoughts on that? Because I have thoughts. I'm going to wait.
I mean, like, this is one of those things where I'm like, I feel like we do it. Like, it's done in my studio because I
Oh,
just
I'm
thought that
not worried
that's what
about you.
was. No, I know, but I'm like, for me, I'm like, it's hard for me to even come to terms with there would be a studio not incorporating these things, because it's just, to
Right.
me, it's kind of the norm. Like,
So
why
you
would you
guys,
not?
right. So you all talk about the history of pole dance?
Um, yeah, we do. Like, I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
open about my experiences and,
Right.
you know, and how in my experience how clubs have changed over the years,
Mm-hmm.
what it was like, in 2001 versus now. Um,
Totally different.
and then a lot of especially like when it comes to the heels and stuff. I mean, for the longest time, right? No studio even allowed heels. It was like, no way, we can't have that. It's trashy. And now everyone understands why we love our heels so much.
Well, they're
You
also
know?
functional. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's a functional
yeah,
shoe for the activity we're doing, just like a ballet
mhm,
shoe is, or a swing dance shoe, or
absolutely.
a tap
Right.
dancing shoe.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, my thought on it is, I don't know. What if pole dance studios had like a little pamphlet where it's like when you're first signing up, it's like,
Okay.
yo, here's the deal. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right. Hmm.
Why not?
Yeah,
Either
that would be
digital or
cool.
tangible or both.
Or
Yeah.
like at least have, like, even if there's a link on their website, like at least some type of access
Something.
to,
Yeah.
to the history and to, again, especially when it comes to, confronting horophobia and to avoid horophobic language. A lot of people don't understand what that means. They're like,
I
first off, they
know.
hear the word whore, right? And they're like, crap, shut down, can't talk about that. That's a no-no word, right?
Right.
Like,
No, no word. Yeah.
it is.
Meanwhile,
So
I'm like, it's a yes, yes word.
I know, right? I was like, what do you, I mean, I also, have necklaces that say whore and stuff like that. So anyway, here we are. But I saved those for PT at the school. Um, but a lot of people, like, and again, that's a communication thing. If we kind of helped someone who doesn't know, who is scared of that word, and it kind of, let's teach people. Let's offer tools so that they can better the knowledge, and then we can help the change, right? I mean,
Right.
that should be that should be a thing.
Totally. Okay, so this next one's a little longer. Excuse me, kitty cat. Okay. This one is by Body by Blunts, which I just think is
I love
like I'm
these names
totally
so
jealous.
much.
I'm so jealous of that handle.
I
I'm so
know.
jealous.
I love
Anyway.
these names so much.
Yeah, they wrote, educate their students in the literature prior to taking the class. Hello, pamphlet idea. Make sure it's on socials and website. Yes, yes, that this is something you take seriously. So seriously that you only allow sex worker instructors for pole classes and prioritize sex worker students. It lets us know you take us seriously and respect that learning these skills is more than fitness, it could mean survival. So no one should play in it and forget that this isn't something for all people to reclaim. And that's okay too. Sex worker coded sexy classes have got to stop being taught by people who aren't us. So similar to what Gutter Puke was saying about, teaching what's coded. And then,
Mhm.
but I just also wanted to mention the follow up comment by another person to Body by Blunt's comment is by Julia.Laxer. And they wrote, and quiz them so they can gain entry. I just loved that. I
Oh,
love the
that's fun.
idea of a quiz. Yes.
You can't touch the pole till you get three right. Can you imagine? Like
Right.
buzzers. Like, no class for you today.
Yeah, but basically, Body by Blunts is pretty much saying what we just said, which is like
Mhm.
make this information like super
Accessible.
accessible to
Hmm.
everyone and
Yeah,
clear and take
right.
it seriously. Like don't be performative, right? We've seen that
Hmm.
in the pole. I've seen it in the pole dance industry. Don't be
Hmm.
performative. Like it's an actual like have it be a policy.
Hmm.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean, there's so many people, I think, that are afraid to hurt feelings, right? And
Yeah.
I complain about this all the time. If you own a pole dance studio, okay, you have a, like, you owe it to so many people to educate yourself and to help spread the education to others. You need to take it seriously.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's not fair when that's not done, And not that
Right.
there's not other avenues of pole dancing. There are, but you need to stay true to things and put it out there. That's how we get change.
Totally.
I feel like your
It's your
cat is seducing me.
yeah, that's her way of seducing is showing her butthole.
Yeah,
Hey, that's what
yeah.
I used to do too. So no
Same,
shade.
same, same, same. Wait, how else do you tell people that you like them? I don't even know.
I don't know. It just seems normal.
Here we
Okay,
are.
meanwhile.
All right,
Okay,
is it my
so
turn?
you're
Okay, let's
next.
get the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
trifocals ready.
Okay.
All right, so can't see a thing. Nothing. Maybe if I go back that way. All right, so Juicy Phoenix. Like, oh my God. If we do this again, I need cue cards or something. Big lettering,
Okay.
right?
All right. I'll
Braille.
make the
So, okay.
text bigger next time.
In Toronto, we have a studio that opened their doors for free, and we can practice there every Wednesday for 3 hours. There is a limited space, and also you need to give them confirmation.
Okay. Makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
I
have
love
we have
that idea.
open studio times for members. Same thing, you have to sign
Mm-hmm.
up and confirm your spot, and then we have
Mm-hmm.
the private rentals.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, of course,
But I
yeah.
love what you told me earlier. You have private rentals for $60 an hour. So if like a
Mm,
group of people want to come and rent it, it's not like each person. It's which
No,
I
no,
be
it's
right
$60
for
total,
the
and that's for a non-member, right? So if you get some people together and whatever you want to do it for a member, so for someone who has a membership and attends classes, um, sex workers and non-sex workers, it's 35 an hour, and that's for the hour, not per person. So
right.
I mean, it would be awesome to be able to open up and offer time for free, but at the end of the day, it is still a business. So,
Yeah.
I try to keep it as fair as possible, and
Right.
still, operate the business. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, private time, and not at the crazy rates, because everyone thinks strippers are just swimming in money. And
But
I'm
we're
like,
not.
no, like really? No. Um,
No.
listen, there's good days
Okay.
and bad days.
Yeah, and there's also called exorbitant house fees and having to buy expensive outfits and do your hair and buy makeup and everything
Yeah,
else. You
yeah,
buy
it's not
shoes,
cheap.
always buying shoes. It's not cheap at all.
No. And I
Okay.
mean, things are crazy right now. Lots of people don't
Oh,
have an expendable income. So I mean, I'm not
well,
the idea that people are just rolling around in money on their bed. I'm like, from where?
well, not only that, the in the last 20 years with the rise of inflation
Oh, I
has
know,
gone
I
up
know.
dramatically, but the costs of
Hmm.
lap dances has stayed the same
Remain the
in
same.
20
Yep.
years. Which
Yeah,
means
it's crazy.
this our work as a stripper
Hmm.
back in the day, we were probably making like 3 times as much
Hmm.
comparatively than
Hmm.
what they're making now.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
Anyway, next comment. I could spend hours talking about that. Bunny, you
I
have to
can see,
move, baby. You have to
I can see your face getting flushed.
Oh God, I know way too much. Okay, here we
Yeah.
go. Jordan Kensley, past guest on Yes, Stripper podcast. Don't create circumstances that would out us. It's not inclusive if I have to tell the world I'm a stripper to get support. And create spaces that recognize historical events and contexts of sex workers slash pole. Create spaces that don't shame different types of sex work. Stop using derogatory terminology inside the studio. Create financial ways for club dancers to access the space. Discounts, specialty classes, jams, etc. Don't use your money during your showcase unless the dancer is an out club worker. It's coming up again. The using the money. It's a
Hmm.
form of cosplay. I think
Hmm.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. So there were some other comments on this thread as well, which I think is coming up. No. But there were other comments we're not reading today, right now, that are specifically talking about outing strippers. So in
Hmm.
one comment, the pole dance studio owner was like, "Oh, go talk to so and so, they're a stripper, if you have stripper questions." And like, that's a big no-no. Like, you shouldn't
Hmm.
just say like so and so's a stripper without that person being like, "You can say X, Y, and Z
Hmm.
about me." What do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, I think I've said it a million times. My favorite word across the board is consent. That's the only thing that I care
Yes.
about. I think that privacy and safety are number one important across the board. And if you
Mm-hmm.
are uncomfortable having the conversation so that everyone is on the same page, then you shouldn't be in a position that you would put someone in that kind of position, right? So if I
Right.
if I have someone come to me and they tell me that they work at a club, immediately I'm going to say, is that something that you are going to, you know, make known here, or do you want to keep it? You tell me how to operate, and I'm going to respect your wishes. End of story.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
and and everyone has to be on board with that as well. It's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Cool.
And maybe there's a protocol, and that would be an individual kind of decision. Maybe like if it were me, maybe I would say, I don't, I don't want to be outed in a class, but if somebody has questions, they can approach me one on one or, via email or something.
That's a really good point because there are different levels of being
Hmm.
out,
Hmm.
right? Yeah, that's a really good point. Just like there are different levels of consenting to different levels of sex,
Hmm.
right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
it
really
all comes down to
interesting.
communication.
Yeah.
You have to communicate.
Yeah, to use your words. Yeah.
We all have to use our words, right? Miss Emily's
But I
classroom.
mean, I think, but like, also, like, is as far as communication, I think it is the responsibility of, the pole studio owner slash management to do that, to initiate that
It
type
is
of
absolutely, it is
communication.
110% the responsibility of the owner and or management staff or both. Um, it is your job to make sure people are safe, are comfortable,
Yeah.
their privacy is upheld in whatever level they want. You should have plans and protocols for every single thing. When it
Yeah.
comes to your members. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you know what's so strange? It's like for the first time ever, it's dawning on me how much emotional and mental health responsibility lies on a pole dance studio owner. And I wonder how
Hmm.
much these people actually take that particular thing into account. I mean, you have this wide variety of people who are coming
Hmm.
there to find a new form of self expression or a
Hmm.
current form of self expression. And
Hmm.
everyone varies so widely, and self expression is so stifled. We're so oppressed in this
Hmm.
country. So I wonder if pole dance studio owners are really taking that very heavily into account when they open these
Hmm.
studios. I wonder if for them it's just like it's a fun new small business where it's like but
All right.
but there's like emotion and sexuality and
Hmm.
like people overcoming mental hurdles and a lot of people healing,
Hmm.
like how
Hmm.
much of that are
And
these people taking
relearning
exactly, and
things,
relearning how
I
to
mean,
self-acceptance, like yeah.
right, right. Yeah. And I think that that's missed, my experience with other owners or from hearing from members that come to my studio about other owners is that's not in kind of their realm of what they deal with. And I'm like, it
Yeah.
needs to be. There's a
Yeah.
there is a responsibility um, when you're working in this industry on any level that needs to be
Hmm.
upheld and respected.
Yeah. Okay, we have one last
So
comment. You ready?
yeah, I'm so excited to read it. Okay.
Okay.
Pull your heart out. Offer practice hours during the day without charging us an exorbitant hourly private rental rate, for Christ's sake. It always feels so insulting as an active worker to throw down $50+ an hour to someone who's never lived off of stripper work. And I think that comes
Yeah.
up a lot. I mean, but the idea that someone would base their prices off of whether someone was a sex worker or not is mind-boggling to me. I mean, it would be like somebody comes in and you're like, "What's your profession?" and I'll let you know your rate. Like, what?
Is that what your takeaway from that comment or that you've seen before?
I think that is That's my firsthand, I guess, not from that comment.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
definitely what I've experienced in this
Mm.
little area.
Dang, wait. So you've experienced that people raise the rate depending on who you are? Gosh
They will
darn
do
it.
everything in their power um, to keep strippers and sex workers out of their studios. They don't want the affiliation, which is like,
God, that's so
who's going to tell them?
irritating.
Like, who's going to tell them?
That's
You
so
know?
freaking irritating. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. Okay. Gotcha. Well, thank you for everyone that shared their comments. I think it's really important that we have these discussions. And here's why. Because I have found out recently that through this podcast and through having these conversations that minds have been changed. And it is through conversation and compassionate and open and transparent conversation that we can start to affect any type of positive change. And even if it seems confronting to some of you who may be listening, who are pole dance studio owners, if you feel like some of this was confronting for you because you're doing the opposite of what you're hearing today, you know, good luck with absorbing the info. And I hope you learned something today. And it's none of this is meant to bash anybody. It's just to raise awareness about how these people are feeling, and they're your community members. These are people you walk past in the grocery store in civilian clothes, and we're all just people trying to do our best. And you should definitely be inclusive of the inventors of the activity that you're making money off of. So that's all I have to say about that. My soapbox, I've dismantled it right after I finished that sentence.
I love it.
Yeah, this has been so awesome. Em, is there anything that you want to add before I make my final words before we close out?
No, I love you. I love the strippers. I love the sex workers.
Me too.
Right?
Samesies. Yes. And so I just wanted to remind everybody that our super awesome sexy stripper store is live. You can go to YAS, and purchasing from that store supports strippers straight up. It supports not only the guests and the hosts and the producer who all the hosts are strippers and all the guests are strippers and sex workers. It supports them, and we are donating to stripper charities and or projects every quarter. And our first org that we're donating to will be announced soon. We are working on it. I'm so excited. But anyways, go to yesthestripper.com. We love you. It's a great way to support the podcast, and you get something really fun in return. Emily, please remind everyone again how to follow you on social media and how to find you.
So we are the Pennsylvania Pole Academy. It's papoledancing.com. And me personally on TikTok, my favorite thing ever, is that Barbie meets Annabelle
There you
on
go.
TikTok.
Got it. Awesome. What a pleasure. I can't wait to see you again in like a week.
I
Yes.
know.
And hang
Thank you
out
so
and
much.
drink one of the 25 bottles of wine that we have in
I'm
my
excited.
house. I have so much wine right now. It's
I'm
ridiculous.
excited. So excited.
Yes. Yes, me too. And thank you, as always, to all of our listeners for tuning in. If we didn't have listeners, we wouldn't have a podcast. So you make all of this possible. Thank you. Make sure you rate, subscribe, like, and share this amazing podcast. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye.